I seen a sphinx breathing, standing next to heathens, devoured by seed and locusts, ejected from the zenith. The body parts of God, Mother Earth received a penis, like Zeus to Venus, Osiris to Isis. When wired to polarities, you couldn't splice this. Original right knowledge, try to rewrite this. You're forced to speak in tongues, far and away your heritage from. Begin to absorb anything above and under the sun.
What's good, YouTube? This is YHWH. This video is really just to get a little something off my chest, because over the last 2 or 3 weeks or so, religious people have just been coming out of the woodwork around me for some strange reason. I don't know why that is, but it seems like every other day I'm bumping into a Christian of one flavor or another, be it a Jehovah's Witness, a Black Hebrew Israelite, an African Methodist Episcopal Zionist, etc. You know, for some reason or another, I've been bumping into these people like every other day, and they insist on having these religious discussions with me. I don't know why. I haven't even really been in the mood to have it with them, but they just forced it on me. Like they wouldn't let me go. And it's strange because I don't normally come across that many religious people in real life. Now on YouTube, I watch a lot of religious videos because for me it's sort of a fascination. I'm genuinely intrigued as to how an adult in 2009 can still genuinely believe in the Bible and the God that is in that Bible. Yahweh, YHWH. You know, every sect has their own guess at what his name is. Yahweh, Yahuwah, Yahweh, Yahweh. There's so many different just speculations of what the guy's name is, which right off the bat should let you know that there's something suspect about this God and the whole situation. Were he real, you would think that you could just ask him what his name is and he would tell you and let people know, especially considering how important some people believe knowing his name is. I've seen some people say that he actually won't even listen to you at all if you don't get his name right, yet he doesn't tell anybody what his name is. So when I get in these religious debates or discussions, it's if it goes on long enough, it's always going to end up inevitably going to the same way, the same path. One of them is going to bring up a claim or a verse out of the Bible, and I'm going to dispute it. And they're going to look at me shocked, and they're going to say, "Oh, so God is wrong?" And I'll say, "No, I didn't say God was wrong. I said that the Bible was wrong." Then they'll say, "Oh, you don't believe in God?" Yes, I do believe in God. What I don't believe in is the God of the Bible. So they'll ask, and a lot of times they'll get mad when they ask it. They'll say, "Well, who is your God?" Well, I'll put it this way. My quote-unquote God is the force responsible for all that there is. I believe him to be, actually I shouldn't say he, because I don't believe God is a he or a she. God simply is. But I believe that God is incomprehensible. I don't believe that God can be understood. I'm not even really sure how you could conceptualize God. As the original consciousness or being, I believe God to be infinite, the source of all things. So everything, if he's infinite, then everything must be a part of him. The planets, the stars, us, everything and everyone must be a part of God. Otherwise, if we were not a part of him, then that would mean the universe consists of God plus us, which would mean that God is not infinite. Because if God were infinite, he could not be subtracted from or added to. If you have God plus us, that means God can be added to, which that makes him finite, which I do not believe to be the case. Now I could give a bunch of ideas and theories about what God is and his attributes, but at the end of the day it's just speculation. God is unknowable. But while we can't fully know what God is, we can know what God isn't. And one thing God is not is a Middle Eastern tribal deity. This is what fascinates me about religion. It can propose the most ridiculous things that you could possibly imagine, and niggas will still believe it. Niggas will still believe it, like right, just straight from the mouth. Will just believe it. No questions. A lot of times, just believe, no questions asked. They'll believe that God, the creator of heaven and earth and everyone in between, despises all the people he created except for a random group of Palestinian sheep and goat herders. They'll believe that God, the creator of heaven and earth, walks around going into people's tents, having lunch with them and getting his feet washed. You have to be able to recognize a myth when you hear it. If you can't recognize the obvious myths, it's a wrap as far as finding God is concerned. To mistake Yahweh for the creator is to allow someone to create a God for you and literally make him up as they go along. That Yahweh is made up as they go along is barely even hidden in the Bible. That's why Yahweh doesn't make sense. Because people are changing him and adding things to him, adding attributes to him, taking attributes from him away. With each successive book, they're making it up as they go along. It is a myth that the Bible is a long, continuous flowing story. That is a myth. That is not even remotely true. The Bible is composed of different books written by different people at different times with different theologies, working from different traditions. When you read the Bible, it's easy to see that a lot of these stories weren't even originally intended to go together. They were separate stories that got later on when the Europeans created the Bible. They took all these stories, edited them a little bit, and then mashed them together in one big ball of nonsense. You can tell these stories are not even compatible with one another. I'm gonna give you a couple of examples. They made up the order of the Bible as well. The order you see these books placed in the King James Bible is not the order that they were written in, nor is it the order that they're necessarily to be read in. These books are often long ways apart from each other in terms of the actual order in which they were written. This is why there's so many mistakes and contradictions in the Bible and all that confusion. This is clear even in books that are right next to each other, like Genesis and Exodus. In Genesis, Abraham, the father of Israel, Yahweh's supposedly chosen people, he knows Yahweh's name. He calls on Yahweh by name. He even names a temple. He even names a landmark after Yahweh. So he clearly knows Yahweh's name and he speaks it frequently. But then all of a sudden, when you get to Exodus, when Moses meets Yahweh, Yahweh says, I am the God of the God of the fathers of Israel. I'm the God of Isaac. I'm the God of Abraham. Moses doesn't know who he is. He has to ask Yahweh what his name is. Then later on, after he asks Yahweh what his name is, Exodus 6:3 reads, And I appeared unto Abraham, unto Isaac, and unto Jacob, by the name of God Almighty, but by my name Yahweh was I not known to them. Now all of a sudden in Exodus, Abraham didn't know Yahweh's name, when in Genesis, Abraham did know Yahweh's name. The writer of Exodus is working from a completely different mythology from the writer of Genesis. Incompatible. These stories are incompatible. These two stories clearly were not meant to go together, because in one, Abraham knows God's name, and in the other, he doesn't. These stories are myths, and like all myths, they change over time. Different people are going to have different variations of the myth. Changing and adding to the myth is one of the reasons why Yahweh does not make any sense. His actions are just completely irrational. One of the worst examples of this is how Yahweh originally is not omniscient, and then later on they add on that he is.